Astralis tend to be the kings of those stats, just in the sense that they can basically guarantee like how good they are when it comes to going down mid-round calls, that sort of thing.
Well, here we are, as we are going to be getting into the matchup. Astralis over on the CT side to kick things off, of course. Let's see how the fight goes. Rez kicks it off instantly. The Rez factor already starting to shine up, Ben, as he'll be able to eliminate Device early on. Our two highlighted players, the ones to kick off this series.
Yeah, from the get-go, you see Astralis immediately reacting to actually losing that player towards long. All 4 players around CT boosting up onto the A site and actually going to re-aggress towards short by looks things. Dupree being the one to make that move as well. Just as the Xbox smoke comes in, though, it's not being used offensively by looks things, but Lekro will flash it at least to fake that push himself as well. So Astralis, they kind of need to make some sort of play, just because they're a man down anyway, but they don't really know where the bomb is in this situation.
Ooh, the awkward bit about this is as well, is there's 3 players bouncing right off short. Dupree actually going to be able to decapitate Get Right early, but Lekro brings it back into a bit more of an equal position now. Plopsky's going to add to it as well. Finds the shot across onto Glaive. Rez was sneaking around, being a little bit of a sneaky man on the backside there towards A. Zipnix will still at least find him then, but it's a 1 versus 3. Even for the clutch master himself, it's going to be a bit of a hard run in this pistol round. Yeah,
as he said, even though he's the clutch minister, this round, that B site, it's very hard to get into it anyway. There is a kit on B ramp as well. Lekro, a bit of a nuisance really having him just in the back, so he knows he's there. And for the most part, if Zipnix can get the kill, that would probably be the best case. He wouldn't be able to get into the site. But Lekro, without armor, 3 kills in there. And he was pretty much the, the linchpin, I suppose, in actually getting that round win.
Oh yeah, the saving grace for him to just actually sort of swap back the flyers that were making their way down through mid. So without them being able to actually come up big like that, it could have been a whole different round for Astralis. But nevertheless, Ninjas in Pyjamas, they open it up with a nice pistol. And this puts them in a position now to actually try and get a couple of rounds on the board. Device, though, going for the scout investment. We've also got Zipnix picking one up. We know how lethal they can actually be going into these rounds. That's always the scary aspect. You can never really count Astralis out.
Yeah, so that was actually Glaive dropping him the scout as well. So Device keeps $700, so he can actually still go for an AWP on that next buy round when they do have the option. And Glaive, he's got a deagle dropped by Device. It's not the worst thing in the world because you can still, deagle, you just need to get that first shot off, right?
Yeah.
This could be very scary for NiP though. If they're going towards long, the scouts being in play, of course, Zipnix has one of them. Not the usual player we see with a scoped rifle.
No. Not at this point as well, when you would actually pass them across in a round like this. However, they are set up quite nicely actually to be able to ward back and beat back Ninjas in Pyjamas as they come up long.
These smokes are quite awkward. That was actually Glaive's smoke that's in the way right here for Plopsky. Just why you see them delaying quite a bit, but the cross will come through. Not much damage being dealt across the board though, just that HE grenade.
Well, Get Right gets up towards the site. He does actually get tagged as well. Dupree was able to spot him. The awkward spam coming through from Get Right. He can't actually find the frag with a MAC-10. Meanwhile, he loses his teammate, his brother in arms in Forest. Lekro has to try and get the trade going. Rez is slain towards mid as well, as Device will punish him with a scout. And there's finally advantage! Zipnix, the entire time he waited over by Gandalf, he does a bit of his own magic as he comes out of nowhere. Blows a hole through Plopsky. Get Right will suffer the same fate, but taken down by Device, who wants to show just how strong he can still be. Hammers his way through Lekro on the follow-up, and Astralis straight back into the round.
Yeah, it was just a matter of time with Zipnix being there, obviously saying, you cannot plant in that position right there. It was nearly collateral, so that was kind of crazy, but the play behind the actual plant right there was quite low. But all in all, they recovered 2 of those AKs, as well as the scout from the previous round as well. So a great round from Astralis. NiP not quite, utilising the grenades as well, I guess. Like, the smokes were there and everything, that was great. They still lost the player crossing, though.
Well, we also had about 4 smokes awkwardly darted around the cross as well, where it kind of just got a bit messy. So the time they got towards the site, obviously, pretty much a mass rotation had come in. Zipnix was in a prime position as well to just literally play the late round play, so it worked out well for them.
Yeah, lack of, Molotov use, I guess. They wanted to clear out the car primarily, which that is usually a nuisance, so it's kind of difficult to clear that properly. But otherwise, you got to be thinking, we need to Molotov out the site. Gandalf, as mentioned, as a prime position. Either flash off short or nade it, Molotov it, smoke it, one or the other.
Ooh. Okay, so they set themselves up back again once again. Try and potentially make a bit of a short play here. They don't have much utility to go for a mid to B or anything, so if we are going to see this come through, Leklo really needs to be the one to do the majority of the damage. It's coming a bit late, though, as he groups up finally with the rest of the squad.
Yeah, so Zipnix still has his Molotov here. Device has a HE as well. Oh, no.
Oh, this could be horrible.
If that comes in, if it came in, it would have been probably the biggest HE ever.
If he wants to go bowling. casted out. There's an awful lot of damage on Lekro. Popsky just running straight in, unarmed, and can't do too much. Luckily, you've got your main man, Rez, the X-Factor, being able to slay them with the Deagle. And start to put a bit of fear back into the Astralis boys, leaving them at a disadvantage now. Magisk, though, he could trade this so easily. The flashbang from his teammate, but it won't work out well enough. He only gets one before he's eliminated. dupreeh is able to come into effect. Lekro on the cross with a scout just needs to really slow down and stop the push from Glaive. And Forest is now trapped in an awful spot. 1 versus 2. A man in front and a man behind. They're creeping up to get into position. dupreeh just takes the fight on his lonesome. A tap on the bomb there from Glaive. Oh, and he lands the shot as well.
He's got that as well. The kit being on him saves the day, really. But you can see, even though Plopsky was that first player on site, he couldn't really get much done in the, second that he had to shoot. But he did get the dink off on Xyp9x, and that caused, you can see the panic. Xyp9x, he just held that spray from then. He was just like, they'll run around pre-firing this, I have to try and do something. So even though he had that Molotov, it was like he had no chance to use it, really. Very unfortunate for Device, though. It's just like that 1 second difference. If he'd HC'd just around that corner, yeah, it's kind of like the awkward bit with having X-ray from a spectator's point of view. You kind of know, oh, it'd be great if he naded it. But there's no tell for them to do it.
No reason for it to actually go through. It wasn't so much damage, though. I mean, the sheer amount of damage alone it did to Lekro was like,
that was the only unarmored player. Like, that was quite a fortunate one. So there's actually a single AK in play here from Rez, just with Kevlar. So a bit of an interesting choice, all in all. Like, it's just trying to get that CIS style into this round. But I suppose that is mainly due to Astralis only having the 1 player alive as well.
Oh, Magisk just holding the angle there, aggressive as ever. Able to ward off, get right, gets a couple of tags across with the AUG to at least bring him down to just below 70 HP. The Ninjas are grouped up here, actually, going for a bit of a slow play. The stealthy walk out through mid. They don't really have much utility, though, Ben, just the 1 flashbang, so they are going to be exposed to both of these angles, and there's a crossfire in play.
The awkward bit as well is, I was going to say, you can see the feet when they come around that corner before you actually get the peek off as a T-side player. Xyp9x takes the opener and follows up with another. Very nice and easy round there for Astralis. All 5 players surviving. Didn't really use all of the utility either, when you consider there was like that small risk of that AK getting involved and doing crazy things with it. 3-1, the economy being built already. NiP actually are going to buy into this with that as well. So I imagine Get Right will probably take the hit here unless... No, he actually will go and get the AK himself, because I thought Rez, he didn't really have much money. I believe he did get given a deal with someone else, though. Ooh.
Okay, well, that's a lot better. Forest on the cross. Easy pick back onto dupreeh to open this one up. So it's an early advantage for Ninjas, which they might actually need going forward.
Yeah, the real question is, what can they do from this situation, right? It's a 4v5 in their favour. Astralis, one of the things they always got praised about was the way that they adapted and actually, create situations to give themselves a higher percentage of winning. So on a map like Dust2, losing that 1 player is kind of crazy because you have to split up a map like they are doing right now, 2 and 2, or you end up going 1-1 and then 2 again. So it looks like NiP actually going to do the smoke execute towards the A side of things, which is where Device is hanging around as well. He has that AWP, as well as a Molotov, so if he wanted to actually just use the Molotov. Unfortunate timing, but he still gets the opening kill.
Device off the back of one in the first. Will he get any more? Lekro sidesteps into him, exposing himself. Oh, that's an awful lot of damage done. Forest instantly take it down as well. Device still finding more and more picks into this round. He's been able to get 3 kills so far. He looks like he's hungering for a couple more. You've got Plopsy stuck towards the site. Get right back over by Short, who's now actually being aggressed on as well by Magisk. The backstab could be awkward. Get Right is tiptoeing out to try and assist his teammate, deny them getting up the ramp. If he would have found the follow-up frag, it actually could have been a whole lot better for NiP instead. This is where it gets really awkward. Plopsky's getting flanked. He has to take the firefight versus Glaive. Nicely timed, so he has to focus on one of them. Magisk will get the kill from the rear. Defuse will come out, and that is going to be that 4th round set in stone for Astralis.
I mentioned the possibility of Device basically getting free reign, even though the smoke's coming in.
Yeah.
Alright, it's fine to give away the 2 kills that they did to begin with, but Forest giving away that 3rd, unneeded, right? It's one of those things where he's got the AWP, he thinks, alright, I'll try and take the fight. If I get this kill, we've got a great chance of winning. You're already 4v3 down in that situation, though. That's probably not the battle you want to take. Unfortunate for him, but they do still get planted, and you can see that they seem to be very focused in on this, like, 1 AK buy style of play.
They're trying it again, yeah.
So I did hear a lot of in-game messages being sent then, amidst this pause that came in. So I imagine this might be a situation where it's potentially a tech pause, perhaps.
Could be. As
This is not the usual.
It's not a standard pause. It's not it's not a normal pause, but it has actually been resolved instantly. So that's pretty good. We're back on track.
If you remember, there was actually the thing that Mihao tweeted, the League Ops guy ESL, saying we've actually started cracking down on the match medics being used during tech pauses where people had misbuys.
Right.
So you could argue there's a potential thing for it there from Plopsky.
What if you didn't mean by the AK? Yeah, true.
There's a potential for that. I mean, that's one of the things some teams were abusing that, not rule, but like the ability. Right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can't tell without them admitting it.
That's true. That's the fact that they're already getting hammered down as well. A lovely shot coming out from Get Right, at least to put them back into some kind of a fightable position. Oof. It's an awkward spam across. No, he grabbed himself.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought he missed it.
He did kind of like glide by,
yeah.
But he still managed to suck it in.
No bullets left in that CZ though, of course. So hopefully he gets work done with the M4A4 right there.
He's actually thrown it away as well.
Ah, it's a new one.
There we go. That makes sense.
Forrest saying, Chris, I had a CZ in the doors. Yeah, there it is. Nice.
Ooh. Device. The Device tank. Just holding the angle. It's an easy pick. At this point, they've been so isolated for so long as well. They're literally just trapped there towards long. Astralis have basically free reign. It's Plopsky and Get Right that remain. And they're heading their way back down, up through T-spawn. Maybe just going to go for a late B if they really want to try and make this one work. They've got 45 seconds still.
The one thing we didn't mention as well, Dupree picking up the secondary orb.
Yeah.
Something we haven't seen too much of recently. Like, it's actually been, it was basically when Device had that short break, if you remember as well, where Dupree picked up the ball primarily when Dennis stood in for them, I believe, at that blast event.
Yeah.
And that was the other thing where Dupree, he picked up the orb and he was doing really well with it. And that's kind of the scary bit. I've seen Magisk pick up the orb more than Dupree as of late. If they go towards B and Magisk doesn't get one, it should be easy pickings for Dupree.
Magisk might actually just be able to do it all on his lonesome. As per usual, an easy spam down with the Org still working well for him in that scenario. And he's going to take the round for Astralis. It's a 5-1 lead now, so 4 rounds towering above the Ninjas.
Just a bit awkward when you consider they did win the pistol.
Yeah.
And then the second round loss. Third round very close as well. And then from that, they've not really had much of a chance into these.
No, that's the thing. There was a couple of actually fairly close rounds that still could have gone their way, depending on different potential peaks that could have come through. But at this point, that round was a bit of a whitewash, and it does get worrying because you've still got the healthy double AWP by actually being rocked as well. We would have seen someone getting slain by that there, but it's a small miss that comes through from Dupree, allowing them to actually get 2 players up short.
This is a really nice strategy. So Zipnex. So that round was fully read by Astralis.
Yeah.
So we saw the way Dupree peaked at mid. He was waiting for that single flash to come through. Although as things come through, that B site's actually going to be pressured very hard.
Oh, it won't matter. Magisk still finding those 2Ks with the Org. That's absolutely outrageous. As he now falls to try and get a little bit more as well. Drops down back on the bomb site and waits for the aggression to come out. They could potentially have a backstab here from Device if he actually wants to try and tiptoe his way through. It's not really going to matter. You've got 3 players all grouped up.
They lined up.
And Magisk is just finding the picks. 2 outside the window, 2 in the tunnels. This man is unstoppable right now when it comes towards B.
Yeah, so going back to that read though, so the strategy, 3 players down Sniper's Alley.
Yeah.
Rez, we saw him throw that flash over mid doors, but Dupree, he was already waiting for a flash to come through. It was like, he knows they do this sort of strategy quite often. So 2 players fast up short. Dupree, he turns the flash, he nearly lands the shot and the player's going up cat. That 3rd player did a CT smoke for him to drop really quickly. One of the players smoked up top. However, Zipnix, clearly Dupree said, they're fast up short, they might be doing that strat if the smoke lands CT. Smoke's bobbling down, Zipnix gets in position.
Yeah.
Here's the drop, gets the kill. The advantage is already there within, 15 seconds? Crazy, crazy stuff. Like, it just shows Astralis, even for a game like this where they're heavy favourites, they still get the, they still prep the same way.
It worked out well for them, saving the bacon to the round. Obviously, the difference that could have been if you actually had that player find his way out through CT to just sort of take down Dupree, really open things up. Obviously, Magisk gets a whole lot more pressure. It's not just 2 people pushing him, it's 3, so could have been way harder for them. Instead, though, NiP still falling on hard times, and much like a rundown fairground, Ben, there's not a lot to go on in terms of the buy.
Yeah, not much available to them, Dupree. Xbox does get smoked. Spam. Only goes to the 1 shot. Oh, they're actually going straight through mid. It's going to be quite a challenge for him.
The NiP bombardment. Oh, the herd has been caught off guard though by the hunters as they just spam through the smoke. Zipnik's getting 2 kills. Device as well, going to be able to pick one back on the forest. And Rez is done for. Slain again by Magisk. Still finding himself another 2k with the AUG. This time recovering the AWP though for Dupree as well.
That's just an awkward situation. I mean, you put the CT smoke down. Zipnik's on the first player that goes around the corner. He just destroys them.
Yep.
Gets a second. More damage as well. And that attack pretty much destroyed from the get-go. Once again, like, I feel like most of these attacks by NiP, they're just getting denied pretty much on the first kill every single time.
Yeah. Ooh.
A leg through the gap.
And that would have been the difference as well, because the only rounds we've really actually seen them get the first pick has been from Forest, where he's been able to hammer him down. We saw a first pick from Rez as well towards Long in one of the early rounds, just on the pistol.
That was just a pistol, yeah.
Other than that, I'm pretty sure Astralis have got most of the opening kills.
There was also, actually, that was the Forest round, wasn't it? Where Device gets the AWP kills onto the A site execute.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I think there's only been, what, 2 rounds where Astralis have had 2 or less players alive? I think it's 2.
Yeah, I think
and
so.
It was the first gun round and then the 3rd round as well, where they forced into it that one AK, I believe.
So it's worrying, really.
Yeah, NiP needs to do a bit more on this scenario. Device is still holding this angle as well, on towards short. Could be very bad news for Rez if he doesn't peek it correctly.
Device just waiting for the face. Oh, spots a little bit of leg there.
So good.
Oh, that would have done a lot of damage. Instead, though, misses out. Rez actually would have been completely owned by that. He's only on 60.
Malta comes through just as they put that smoke in. Although I can't imagine they would have done too much with it. It was more of a case of we'll try and get pull nades from them towards that area.
Smoke going down towards Longhouse as well. And Glaive looking like he actually wants to try play around that smoke and push through, potentially go for the information play. You have a smoke on short and the smoke towards mid. Double flash coming through as well, so they can try and advance for this. Mostly set up to go for the pincer play on the B site. Astralis, they'll finally realize what's going on here. Glaive's going to have to push from behind, but Device somehow gets that opening pick. Magisk, this time not so lucky with the AUG. Dupree as well, wanted to try and go for the shot. And Skeet shoot get right out of the sky. Instead, he couldn't actually land it. And it goes back into the 4-on-3. All of them grouped up towards CT, apart from Glaive, who's finally been able to make his way outside along. But I think they're saving this one. They don't want to go for it.
I'm surprised that they don't even go for an option to try and get exits. Like, when you consider the cash across the board for Astralis.
Yeah, I mean, it's stacked. Like 9k is the average.
6.8 is the lowest.
Yeah.
Like, it's really not that bad for them. But I guess that means they definitely do want the second AWP in play. Because otherwise you wouldn't bother taking the risk, right? Because the rifles, they're what? Equipment value they're holding right now, probably about 5k, like between them on average.
Yeah.
So I guess they just really don't want to risk that, even though, you know, if you do take down more of these NiP players when they win the round, you create more of a risk of actually lowering their economy reset and everything. The second round for NiP, even though it started off quite poorly again, Device getting that 1 kill through the smoke. Thankfully, they caught out Magisk. I think they saw his AUG just stick out a bit on that angle he was playing in B, and Dupree, he was already a bit too low when Get Right came flying through.
Yeah. Well, 7-2. And then just finally get themselves another round on the board. And Forest, back to his old tricks once again. Wanted to try and get himself a pick on the cross. That was actually quite close. Went through the legs there, nearly clipping one of the shoes on Dupree.
Yeah, he seems to have the...
Ooh, okay.
There was a smoke at mid, but I'm not sure if there was a gap over the top right from Magisk's point of view. Because there was the regular smoke they got put for the cross.
Yeah.
So I guess there is some gap towards it. Yeah, that's an awkward angle then if you're actually on the Xbox jump up. So another opener for Astralis, again though. This time not amidst an execute, not amidst like a play, just before they get anything going.
Glaive doing what he does best here, just waiting, playing around the smoke. Although this time, Get Right's going to be the one to get the quick draw off. Finds the single bullet straight through his cranium. Actually deviates back as well. Doesn't want to aggress towards Long. This has actually sparked the rotation for 2 players in Astralis to go down. Heavy group up towards Longhouse. They're going to recommit with a smoke again as well. Device now torn between 2 sides, Ben, as they make their noise back over by short.
Yeah, he made sure that Zipnik's got the control towards Long right there before leaving. That one smoke comes in towards mid's B, however, Dupree got a very good position at mid. If he wants to, he can delay it even further. He's got a smoke of his own. The scary bit is, there's a Molotov still in Device. Zipnik has a HE as well. So even if they put that Molotov out when they do go for that plant, if they do get to the site, they could be denied very easily. Because they're going to use all their smokes just for this execute.
Yeah. This could be rough. Utility setup though. Everyone drawing their flashes. Get right with a Molotov ready to try and cast it out to ignite them. Tons of damage already done though from the offensive utility of Astralis. Dupree still paranoid about the mid-crunch. Instead, everyone has gone for this bombardment straight out short. The plant will finally come through, and they need to scatter back, get themselves in better angles to play from here in the post-plant. Magist coming over. Zipnik's aggressing as well. They're getting close proximity to work with this one. The team flash to allow them to get across. They only have one more flashbang, and it is going to be used now to try and instigate the push. Beautiful connection onto Lekro. Breaks him down and smashes him like a watermelon. Plopsky will get the trade across. Plopsky doing the majority of the damage here, actually, as the Krieg killer starts to finalize his work. Just needs to run down that clock. If he could get the follow-up frag onto Majisk, it could have been a different storyline, but get right with the Molotov. It needs to spread across. It's going to miss. Oh, it doesn't spread. Majisk with 3 HP. Protected by a bit of magic of his own.
As if that Molotov didn't spread. That was Device's Molotov he got from his body at long.
Yeah.
And somehow that doesn't spread.
Literally one tick would have killed him. That's so rough.
I'm trying to remember the actual system behind Molotov. In this case of what way you're looking, I think the spread
For
goes.
the spread, I think so.
So he's looking towards the site. It lands onto the site. Obviously, it didn't bounce off the wall enough. He didn't get enough of a, in the corner where
it would have burnt more towards the sandbags, like goose area, that direction.
Oh, that's rough.
That's so unfortunate. The flames were literally all around him.
I'm surprised Magist didn't panic and just get off the bomb, though, as well.
I suppose at that point it's just literally just, I've got 3 HP. If it moves, I die. If I come off, I probably still die.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the confidence play, it's a bold move. Paid off. That's so rough for Get Right. That's so unfortunate.
It's a really tough round to lose. I mean, I mentioned the Molotov being used potentially earlier by Device. Yeah. And how it actually would have had a great effect as well, because as I mentioned, NiP, they had no smokes left when they went for that plant. Forest does get his AWP out again, though. The question is, what can they get done with it further on? So the trading there, Plopsky did really well on that actual post plant.
Plopsky was like so influential in that round to actually even get them into the position they were able to get to. It is quite wild. Props to Zipniks as well with the early entry. That first frag he found was actually, that was pretty swish.
So a very slow stalemate here. Device changing up his angles here. So they've been Molotoving this, like the Shoxy peak, over and over again. He's nearly multied them. So that's the first time he's actually had a chance of them peeking into that angle. Every single other time, they've just ran right across it.
Yeah.
And Forrest's so close to dying off that Molotov as well. Got 2 full ticks down on him. 3 HP.
Look how deep Glaive actually is as well.
And they smoked behind him. Yeah. This is the actual Jax play that we saw quite a lot during Pro League last week during the finals. He would usually make that play. Sometimes he'd run through his own Molotov just to get to that position. Just to double it up like that. I believe they
double mollied it, yeah.
I was going to say that. Unusual, I guess, just some miscommunication right there. But that means there is no Molotov left on that site. And here comes the push.
Majisk, he did it with an AWP. Can he do it with a Krieg? Apparently, defies the laws of physics to find the first. And Dupree, the brain surgeon, will get another one towards Get Right. Majisk still doubling down. He always wants the 2Ks. He's never happy with just the 1. But Big Papa Plop, he's got to make his way back towards T-spawn. He's got 18 seconds. It'll have to be the save. He's just going to have to hope he can stay alive, clutching onto this Krieg, Ben. A 9th round will be secured for Astralis now.
Zipnik saw him. Dupree.
Well, Dupree's hot on his tail.
Dupree's walking as well.
He's going to have the angle here as well. Plopsky peeks out.
I'm trying to think, he should run it. You can see the feet.
Oof! Oh, the spam around the car!
They got him from the side. But that's after time, though. Thankfully, he's the player that had the most money on NiP. Like, at the time, of course.
It could have been a whole lot worse.
Yeah, so, I mean, you don't really want to buy, but you're in a position 9-2 down, your loss bonus is at a cap.
You need rounds.
You might as well buy into it, but they're not actually committing fully either. Lekro's the only one who's spent all of his money, like, in terms of actually getting rifle, head armor, nades. Otherwise, we see some investment across the board.
It's a little bit of a mixed bag.
Yeah, so Red's actually getting this tag there onto Majisk as well with the scout. And they're doing really well with actually getting some damage through the doors there.
Yeah, shots down mid. I mean, Forrest has got at least 2 connections off it. He found one of the picks as well.
So Glaive wanted to do the same play. He wants to do that exact same play. Because they didn't technically see him do it last round.
But they haven't actually seen him push long at all quite a few of these rounds. The only time they did Get Right caught him out once. So
it was just a spam through the smoke, wasn't it, really?
Yeah. Hang on, is Device actually playing behind here towards God B?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With his pistol. I think he wants to try and get the gun out if it's still there, but it's already gone in Gerard's hands now. They're walking up towards the site here.
They're all actually getting out as well. Pretty much the entire team has been able to cross at this point. Get Right's the only one that's late, of course, lurking behind towards lower tunnels, looking for another pick.
He's going to be very surprised.
Oh, the tag on Zipnix. They actually get 2 shots off onto him, bringing him down to 17 HP. But when you extend yourself out that far, there's a scoped lunatic on the other end, and his name's Device, hungering as he finds the first, cuts his way through Forest, and looks to try and add more to his total tally. Dupree as well, tiptoeing his way up, Ben. He's silent.
Rez is a free kill right here. If he'd waited, he potentially just gets all of them for free. Looks like he'll do it anyway, though.
Yeah, he's silent and deadly. It doesn't matter. 2 of the kills. Magist comes in to help him out just on the last one. They just weren't ready for it. They couldn't win the fight. There was no trade. There was no nothing. Just 1 by 1. He had a free fight. It was literally 3 1v1s, basically.
Yeah, and that was the difference, though. You can see Lecro, he was the player that had full armor. Get Right, the other one with Kevlar.
Yeah.
And then because of that, you know, those players, they had nothing really to fight with. Those pistols, as soon as they hit it once, they can't really do anything. 10-2 already to Astralis. This is NiP's pick as well. But going back to that point we saw in the map stats as well, Astralis CT is their better half by a good margin. So it's not too surprising. And this also backs my claim of they don't actually get many rounds to play with on the T side. And Lecro got destroyed through the smoke as well.
That's so harsh to kick it off with. Wow. So you lose Get Right a matter of seconds into the round.
Did they just run boost onto short from the floor? Or was I? Because it seems very, very quick that they got double up cat there. Not sure.
Catch it. That's interesting.
I was trying to look at the X-ray because I saw Glaive wasn't actually at the boost bit, but he was more along the ramp. But I'm trying to think that'd be crazily coordinated if you managed that.
Yeah.
But then again, if you inefficiency processes, that could be amazing.
Yeah. I mean, if you
got the long pick, taking you short now.
Straight up there instantly.
To launch them there. That'd be amazing.
Well, a minute still left on the clock. Forest is the only one out towards long. He's scoping in, scoping around. There's just the jump spot on towards the site coming through from Glaive that wants to try and get the read. They've got controller short as well. Zipnik's playing anti-flash. Device will be the one to actually take the firefight on Headstrong. And there's a herd of hooligans about to bombard their way in. He can actually get a collateral here. He gets the first, switches to his sidearm, assisted by Zipnix for the double kill down on Plopsky and Rez. And now it's all up to Forest. He's got to try and turn up the tempo here. He advances towards the site. Scoped in, nearly had the opportunity for a consolation frag on the way out. Instead, though, it's Magisk with a bludgeoning headshot. And that will go 11-2 as we get to round 14, Ben. It's not looking good for the Ninjas here on Dust2.
Yeah, not great whatsoever. I mean, they've got a total of, what, 23 kills in the first 13 rounds?
Yeah.
The usual basis is you average around 3.7 per round if you're winning the rounds. And then they're on less than 2. So it's a crazy difference when you put it that way. And if you want to make it sound even worse, Device and Dupree have more kills than the rest of NiP combined. Not great. 11-2. Astralis in prime position really to take this half, probably 13-2 here. It's not a great buy. I don't think we've seen a full buy from NiP once this half. There's always been something
Something's
wrong
been
with it.
missing from someone. If it, is utility or a weak or a rifle or even at times literally just like a deagle has been coming out. So yeah, it has definitely been somewhat impacting them as well because they can't actually play the style they want to.
So they're actually changing things. So instead of having just the AWPer towards the site, then 2 rifles towards long, or 1 in CT, 1 towards long, Device is going to control that whole area. This might be a bit of a surprise for NiP, especially if Zipnix moves up.
Oh, he's doing what he does best as well. Just getting into position to really catch them off guard. It's one of those angles that would be such an off angle if you wanted to commit to it. You wouldn't really expect it on the push out. Although NiP are still running down the clock. They've actually got a fair bit of utility to work with left as well, so they're set up to actually maybe make something out of this round. There goes the first smoke. They could try and actually go for the bit of the CT drop play if they want to work into this one. Zipnix gets aggressive once again. No. Spots the first through the smoke. The spray down continues as well. The damage is actually fairly lethal. The flashbang finds everyone, even their own team. It gives Forest an opportunity to attack at least. And the blaze of glory and daze and confusion that was surrounding everyone. A further kill comes through as Magisk will hit the DECK. Device responds, but misses the opener. And this kid Glaive, a moment to just annihilate, popping everyone's head as they line up for him. And Get Right's the only one that remains. Molotov off as the fire and flames will block him. He's still got to try and save the round here. The Swedish superstar taps down on the first, but he misses the connection to Dupree. Device holding it as well, hoping he'll overextend, but now he has to push. The game of tug-of-war gets a whole lot more stressful now for the Danish side. Get right faking him out with a pistol, wants to just run down the clock. Device, it's now or never if he's going to be able to pick this one up. Crouch walks his way in. The awkward spam comes across. He's burnt the time off the clock, and he's ripped the head off of Device.
That is a vintage get-right clutch right there, coming out of nowhere. Especially when you consider Glaive, he gets that triple kill going onto the site.
That was absolutely wild. Like, this is outrageous. The fact they just line up for him and literally just a headshot spam down. Yeah, just walks into it.
That's get-right getting around out of nowhere, really. A 4K. One of the big kills towards mid as well on the lurk. Vintage, really. The lurk kill into a 3v1. Quite
Rolling
nice.
back the years there. For old school GTR. Maybe that's what they needed to try and revitalize themselves, get them a bit more pumped up. But they need a 4th round here. If they're going to do anything versus Astralis moving over to their CT side, they need some kind of help. A bit of a buffer to play with. Instead, though, that's not the way to start it. Forest losing his lips there towards mid early on against Device.
It's another opening kill though for Astralis. It feels like, as we mentioned earlier, they've probably only had an opening kill, what, 3 rounds in NiP?
Yeah.
Like it sounds bad, but when you consider the round score, it kind of makes sense. But it just, you know, it's not like they won every time they got the opening kill either.
No, that is true. I mean, they've had more of a chance since the rounds. You could see literally when Forest has gotten the picks, or Rez has been able to actually get an early opener, they could do more. However, this time, it might not matter at all. It could be completely negated and wiped out all by Glaive. He's been playing around long quite aggressively, being confident to walk through the smokes. This time, he's going to cut off the rotation and get right. If GTR works his way back through mid, it should be an easy killing for Glaive there. They've now got the read that no one is mid. They're not outside long. They must be towards B. And this is where Dupree switches things up.
Majisk still has a smoke as well. Oh, no.
Oh, he's tagged everyone. He gets the headshot off as well. Magist now just opens fire as it is just spam season. And they're going to be able to get the shots across. They clean out house. And Astralis, they win that half fairly dominantly. Can NiP get back into it? We're going to have to find out after the break. We'll see you after that.
$12-3.
A vintage scoreline for a CT side start there for the Astralis boys, as the Danish demolition has definitely come out in full force this evening. Meanwhile, for the Ninjas, the Swedish superstars, if they have any magic left, Ben, now's when they need to bust it out. Get out those wands, do a little bit of a flick, an Aloe Hamora, one of those. I think that's open.
Yeah, that is open.
Open the chance to win. There you go.
Yeah, or open mid, this might be already over. You know, it depends how you take it. Depends how you take it.
Yeah, that is true. Those odds definitely look like it's...
yeah, that would definitely back that statement.
Pretty one-sided.
That is for the entire series as well, so that's bear in mind that this is a best of 3. This is still the first map.
NiP's pick as well.
NiP's pick, yeah, that's the other downside, of course, to this situation. The only player with grenades on the T side of things was Glaive. He smokes Xbox, flashes them through mid as well. Nothing to be seen, though.
No. Not right now. Although, GetRight actually getting a little bit aggressive here towards short. If he is assisted by Rez perfectly, it could be a nice start, although you should never really count Dupree out in these scenarios, as he just hammers his way through. Lecro has so much to do. He was playing anti-flash, and it would have actually turned it perfectly. Instead, though, the timing was just slightly wrong for him, and this has left them in a bit of a predicament. It's a 3 versus 2. Forrest is coming up through short. Plopsky wants to try and follow in his shoes as well, and this is going to get awkward. They cross with a bomb. Magisk is up in an awkward angle. Forrest nearly gets the shot out, Ben, but he doesn't actually find the head.
Yeah, the awkward bit is there's no kit, so that they kind of want to deny that plant before he even gets a chance to get there. But Forrest, I mean, Magisk's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And he still lands the shot, which forces him back. Glaive's going for a long lurk around as well, which you see Forrest is quite aware of that possibility.
Ooh,
too low, though.
That's so rough. But look how low Glaive actually is anyway. It brought him down to just 7 HP. A little bit more damage, and it would have been the elimination. Instead, Plopsky has to do it. Gives him the first kill. Maybe this will ignite a bit of bloodlust in the man. The newcomer to the NiP side. What does he have in his utility belt to buy him out of this round? Tiptoes his way up, paranoid about Long. So heavily invested that he might actually expose himself to Magisk, who overthrows him. The Glock God comes through, and that will be the 13-3 scoreline achieved for Astralis.
13-3, NiP. You can see the force play is already coming through as well. To be fair, NiP did win the pistol on T side as well.
Yep.
So they have every chance to still get back into this, especially with the force play coming through. 2 scouts. You've got a kit on Plopsky as well, so that's quite a dynamic purchase right there.
It was nearly a pretty close mirror of the Astralis buy as well. Instead, though, GetRight's actually gone for the MP9.
MP9's a bit interesting. He always did pick it up, though, didn't he? If I remember correctly, before even... Ooh, device. No damage actually being exchanged in these small little battles. They're actually pushing tunnels, though, as well. Dupree...
Yeah, this is wild. They're so deep in already.
Damage. He's going to have to smoke and try and get out of there. So that's really awkward, especially with Rez now pushing up towards top mid here as well. It'll be about time when Dupree arrives towards the long doors as well, depending on what Rez decides to do. Rez should know there's a player coming through T-spawn though.
If he just holds here, he'll kill Lurk. Well, he'll kill the rotation on the Lurk as he finds that headshot. Did get dinked for it though. Upgrades to the Mach 10 now. Plopsky and Lecro in close range combat. Are they going to go for the boost up? They need to do it quick if they are. Plopsky, a slight elevation. Will his heightened angle give him a higher skill ceiling? Instead, the tag comes through and completely throws a spanner in the works, Ben. It makes it so much more awkward now. They have to smoke towards short. It's going to go fairly deep in, so it won't really aid them, meaning that Forrest gets a free frag back onto Glaive. Magisk has to commit to the plant soon. They've still got 45 seconds, actually, so a ton of time to play with. They don't really need to rush this one. Magisk looks for a further pick, but he's only getting tags, Ben.
Yeah, he needs to take those fights, and just as that happens, Zipnix and Device get caught out. Magisk on his own 1v4 shouldn't really be possible.
I mean, if he would have found that frag instantly into Forrest, maybe he could have done some more. Instead, though, he's biting off so many firefights. They were coming at him one by one. They wanted to try and give him an opener, but it doesn't happen.
He really didn't want to right-click with that weapon.
No, he didn't fancy it. He was just going for the unzoom.
But noticing that quite a lot, though, that seems to be the common trend. Unless you're holding an angle, you might as well abuse that first bullet.
Carrigan, Nitro,
Quite a few people
I was trying to think
doing
who
it.
else we've seen that's done it, but most of the players that have actually been rocking the Creek have been feeling the confidence to actually just kind of unscope it.
Yeah, like Alesia's the other one who's always
Yeah.
been front-running. Well, the SG and the Org, when that first patch came through, he was immediately on Twitter saying, right, these guns are incredible. The fact that the price has been lowered is kind of outrageous.
Yeah.
And he went through all of the minor details, I guess.
It's always funny as well because it was kind of like the history of MBK with the Krieg, especially.
Yeah,
he was some of the
going
forefront of
back.
that weapon for a
Magisk was
long
as well.
time. Yeah, actually, that's very true.
So seeing him once again still not zooming with it, it's quite a surprise. But as I said, though, NiP did win T-side pistol, then they got eco'd. Astralis have now done the same thing.
Oh, that nade could be healthy. That's nice. Fair bit of damage done to a good trio of players there.
I suppose I wouldn't call it too healthy.
If anything, it's quite bad for their health.
Yeah, it was quite bad for them. 53% of health gone from Majisk.
Oh. Zipnix is way worse for wear as well, as they just rinse their way through him. Device takes only a small sliver of damage off the back of the firefight from Get Right. And they are coming up short here. They're setting themselves up for it. Early Molotov gets cast out by Get Right. Actually, Lekro who threw that one to try and stop things here. It might slow down the push slightly, but they're still getting ready to go for it.
So the Molotov's come through, trying to delay Lekro's ability, and Get Right, even though he's blinded away, can't do too much. Lekro, oh my god, they're all blind.
Oh, he still gets a further kill from it. They actually have a massive advantage, and Get Right, bouncing up and down on a pogo stick, is able to get 2 kills for himself into that one. And Ninjas do actually get themselves a follow-up round. They're converting these now, 13-5, as they get the AWP out as well. Lekro going to be donning it this time. We saw an awful lot, of course, of Forest being able to pop off on the T side with the early picks. But Lekro, he has a spawn to try and do some damage at long here if they suspect it could be a bit of a rush.
It's kind of crazy as a contrast, just to think every single member on Astralis has 10 or more kills.
Yeah.
There's only one on NiP.
And it's only really just happened as well, because Get Right, he was having a fairly quiet game in the first half.
It was that 4K, wasn't it? The 1v3, he got up to 8 kills.
Yeah.
And then he's had a few rounds on the CT side with 2 or more.
I think the clutch round was the turning point by far.
Definitely. And he seems to be the linchpin in the CT defense, so he's that player who's in between both sides, which it's such an important role to have somebody who knows what they're doing there. This could be a mowdown depending on who actually hears them and depending on the movement, right? So Lekro, he's the AWPer that's closest to it. Get Right will hear them when they do make the move. The run boost actually comes through as well. They should still get a plant through, unless that Molotov stops it.
Well, they should be able to still plant this eventually. Molotov is going to fade away, but Zipnix just bypasses it. Plants a little bit closer towards the site. Dupree falls in the firefight versus Forest. Forest nearly going unnoticed there versus Majisk because he just brushed his crosshair past him. Luckily able to get that frag and the follow-up onto Glaive. Lekro in the meantime kills Zipnix, and that will be a defuse. Another round for the Ninjas, but it was a bomb plant for Astralis, and there wasn't a casualty for NiP. So in terms of the best situation for both teams, it's probably ideal.
Yeah, of course, building that economy on the CT side, very important on this map. So Lekro now donning the AWP. Forest, I'm not too sure what gun is actually on the floor for him. I imagine okay, it is a double AWP coming through, right? So as I mentioned that stat yesterday with NiP at Katowice 2018, their win rate can jump up 16-17% when they have 2 AWPs in play. This AWP with Draken, but Lekro and Forest are both very capable AWPers as well. Draken not as much more flashy, I guess, is the main difference.
It was the low percentage shots that he'd go for, basically. It's like literally the ultimate contrast to Device's AWPing style.
Yeah, exactly. And Lekro, as I said, he's still capable. Gets the opener.
It's a good way to try and put a pin in this round. As NiP, I mean, they need as much as they can get, really, on their CT side here. They don't have much room to breathe if they actually do start losing rounds, so starting it off like this is a good little way to kick things off. Slow stuff from Astralis as well now, Ben.
The disheartening bit, though, is it's like in the past games, we've always said, it'd be good to get some rounds on the board and then feel better going to the next map.
Yeah.
This is their pick, though.
Yeah, you kind of...
You want to win this pick.
It's either if you win it and you're absolutely fine with it, if you have a really sort of harsh run and then bring it back so it's even closer and you still lose it on your pick, I think that feels worse most of the time.
Because you're still thinking, we should have done better, though.
Yeah.
Like, why did we start so slow?
Well, we're going to get to see a little bit of that AWPing prowess coming out to play here. As Forest, classic stuff, him outside of the B site with a scope in his hands, ready to just slay him. Get Right quite rushed into that, actually.
Yeah, Rez playing close to the smoke. Device has no armor here either. Well, this is bold.
Oh, they walk straight by him! He gets the double kill off the back of it. The big kahunas on this man definitely pay off, and it all falls into the hands of Zipnix. Luckily, he doesn't take too much damage from the first firefight, but Lekro, off angle, just sat there in the middle, slap bang, ready to bang him down with the AWP as he will get that shot off. And Astralis into a position as well where their cash actually isn't too spectacular. They're going to take a pause here, finally using a pause as well. They haven't had to up to this point.
Yeah, the pause coming through, not too much of a surprise. As I mentioned, the money, not too great. But on the other side of things, they lost the player quite early on, right? Lekro got the opening kill, and that kind of disrupted any plans they did have for the round. So Forest actually, you know, he died with the AWP last round. They didn't actually recover it either. He's going to go back to the M4A1S. I think he's one of the like 3 players.
Do you still see historically using it? Yeah.
I think Neo still does it as well.
Carrigan at times.
Yeah, Carrigan's the other one as well. But I guess the denominator there is 1.6.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's something like. God B still runs it, right? Because he was for a while. He was using the
He was using the
AUG
AUG so much, though, wasn't he? That was the other thing.
Because that was obviously the talking point about that when that sort of came in first at Pro League, where he would use the AUG as his basically 30 bullet M4, and his silenced M4 as the 20 bullet M4. 25 bullets now. Yeah.
So some armor across the board. Zipnik's picking up that scout again. Be interesting to see him do it though.
I mean, if he can try and make his opponents a little bit more supple, break their bones slightly so it's easier for Astralis to really hammer their way through them with the Deagles and the CZs, it could be viable. And they're probably going to have to do something a little bit more shock and awe here into this round. Work together, use that limited utility they have. They have 1 flashbang, 1 smoke. If you can just try and go as a bit of a squad and maybe just upset the ninjas.
Yeah, it's going to be a difficult one if they do still try and do it though. They'll clear out mid close. They've got the 1 smoke. There's no other grenades. So Glaive looks like he's going to smoke that CT side off. Forrest though, mentioned that silence M4.
Ooh.
Nice nade. He can just spam through the smoke though and cause havoc really.
Oh, he's got the heightened angle. Actually sees a bit of leg on Glaive as well. Oh, Glaive keeps himself exposed. And that's going to be the paranoia of the silence M4. They don't actually have a full read of where exactly he is, so it makes it so much harder. Get right spots out a gun as he waits for the push to come around. Just has to hold, clearing to see if anyone else is there supporting him. Device is trapped in. He does know he's there. 7 HP for Device. He really cannot afford to move in this scenario, but Blopsy's doing all the damage to the rest of his teammates. Device eventually gets killed, and Zipnik's actually with a drive-by scout gets the kill. It won't matter though. Get right fast on his feet, rotates back over towards the B site, and they do get themselves an 8th round.
Yeah, 1 kill. Not too great when it comes to actual overall damage right there. But all in all, you got to be thinking, we didn't really expect too much. It wasn't crazy investment. We didn't have a clear like execute in mind or anything like that. But this is the big round, right? So NiP, they've got a load of money backed up here. But if Astralis were to win it, they're up to 14 already. It's like this mountain could be, you know, slowly shaving things off the top NiP, but it's not quite doing too much just yet.
Surprised Device actually took so little damage from that as well. The double Molotov coming through. Only 1 tick actually got onto him there. Brings him down to 10 HP as he's able to back off. Bit more of the individual aggression from Astralis into this round early on though to try and find themselves a pick. Deviating back around though towards that B site. Is this where they actually find success, Ben?
Yeah, as it is with Dust2, the first like minute or so is just a case of I'm going to throw this smoke, you're going to throw your grenades in retaliation. We get that's like around a minute left, and from here we usually see a strategy come through, and actually it's going to be the B burst.
Well, Get Right and Co do their best Magisk impression towards the B site and actually ward off this fight. Seems like Forest is doing a bulk of the work. It's 2 kills with the M4, and they just leave it in the hands of Glaive and Device. Paranoid about someone still being on site at this point. They have to clear it out. They use the Molotov. Glaive gets up close, trying to play anti-flash on the door, so if there is a push through, he can do some damage. Smoke goes up as well. No commit for the bomb plant just yet. They're trying to run down the clock here and actually get another advantage into the round, potentially put themselves into a better position first. And Rez should hit all of that. The footsteps where Device has to thunderfoot himself back towards the bomb site to assist now as they are coming in. Everyone's coming through the doors, Ben. They're getting themselves ready for this calculated attack with a backstab from Rez. Device is playing close in the smoke, though. They actually might bypass each other here if they're careful. He gets out, he spots him. It's just on Device, he's so low. He does get the follow-up tag off towards Forest, but he can't actually tackle him. It's a 9th round. They can save that AWP if they want. That's below Forest's feet as he eventually spots it. Do they want it? He wants to hold on to the AK. Plopsky's just going to keep the Krieg. They don't want the AWP, actually. I mean, they've got money to buy one. You might as well keep those 2 weapons. You can't buy them yourself.
Yeah, Rez having the bulk of the money. He had 16k right there. I'm still surprised that Device managed to turn and get the kill on Rez right there. It was such like a last second like spin.
Talking of that factor as well, 21 kills for Magisk actually into this round.
Ooh,
he's having
that was AK damage.
Big early game.
That was AK damage on Forest, not anything else. So that's quite rare. You don't see that anymore with the door change we had a few years ago.
No one really spams the door too much. It's more. You did used to see it actually where people would try and spam the cross with AKs even, but It's not as common. All right, a 1-for-1 trade there. Magisk on the return towards the site. They find success on their re-entry towards Earth. And Forest, what can he actually do being the close man? Has to try and deny the mid-push from Dupree. At least there won't be any backstabs. That nade can actually do a fair bit of damage depending on where it lands. Thought it was going to bounce over. Instead, blocked off. Doesn't actually hit Glaive at all.
Rez is making that same play, and NiP have smoked off the tunnel the same way that happened last time. It all depends on Xyp9x, though.
Oh, this
seems very wary.
Oh,
He's
just
got
on the
all the
angle he
nades too.
clears as well. That's awkward, Ben. This is going to make it a whole lot worse from a 3 versus 3. Forest ignites Glaive as he jumps into action, shoots a couple bullets across. Magisk gets the first. Lekro will save the day as well, actually, there, as he gets that fire back across. They're on the bomb. He flashbangs out. Lekro, all he's got to do is hold this. He has the AWP. As long as he gets the shot, they win the round.
That's kind of crazy. I mean, Glaive, he clearly recognized this Molotov's going to burn me.
Yeah.
But it was such an instantaneous just death.
Jump. Yeah.
Kind of crazy. I mean, Xyp9x makes the big play that should win them the round, realistically. But instead, as I said, though, when he got the kill, as mentioned, he had all the nades. So he had to get out of tunnel and pretty much throw his smoke, his Molotov, his flash, everything. It was slightly too late. Yeah. Astralis take their second pause as well. And this is where it gets kind of spooky when you are coming from a big lead. The other team has hit the double-digit mark.
Yeah.
That's where you're kind of like, oh no, this is a real possibility in your mind.
It starts to get to you. It's also this frustration where then you're left in that scenario where it's like, all right, we're going to go for the full investment now. If you lose that round, it hits you again. You start getting a little bit worried. Obviously, Astralis, though, they're probably one of the teams more so out of everyone that you go, all right, no matter what the scoreline is, even if they've really started to have a sort of a rushed, harsh second half, they tend to come back into it. They never really let their heads drop, which has always been one of the mental fortitude side of things that really has kept them going.
Yeah, I mean, if you date it back to, what, 2016? With the TSM lineup, I guess, going into Team X, like / mark, whatever they called themselves.
Mental fortitude was what made them lose games.
Yeah. So that was the big thing. There was a mental block, and Forest keeps getting hit every time he crosses the door by different weapons every round. That was a deal they hit this time. Like that used to be the thing that Weber used to do, if you remember as well, on Dust2. He would just tap through the actual gap. I think he still does it, even on CSGO, which is kind of crazy.
The thing is,
it's worth the risk
fire
if you have something
got
covering
from
you.
From an AK as well, yeah. Unless you're just going to get straight picked by an AWP and it's literally not worth the risk. You can do at least like 20 damage normally on a cross if you can actually get a couple of shots off.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're just spanning the gap. Right? Yeah. You could hit them twice on the cross, and it slows them down when you're doing that anyway. So this half buy coming through from Astralis, we've seen a few rounds like this already from them on the T side. They haven't really worked out too great, although there's a lot more utility in this one. Lekra is the man that'll be questioned, though. He is the player on the crossover.
There is a rotation coming in. The Molotov from Get Right goes down. Actually, there's a tad bit of damage. Awful lot across towards Glaive as well. Going to leave him with some burns. Lekro finds the first, shooting across on towards the bites. The follow-up headshot through the blindness goes full Daredevil as he hits that one onto Dupree. Critical stuff, but Magisk is returning. Flex is on them with a deagle. They grab a double kill. And it's just a 2 versus 3 now. They have incredibly low health, though. They need a lifeline right now if they're going to be able to pick this one up. Lekro still trying to get the shots off. Does it with style points, though, as he dismisses Magisk with his deagle. And Glaive has to try and clutch it out. Puts himself on a pedestal, exposed to all the angles, and it won't take long before Rez will rip his way through him. 13-11. Lekro with some show-stopping shots into that round. That was actually quite beautiful.
Those were lovely.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy, or rare, actually, just to see an AWP headshot anyway. But the second shot, lovely to see right before the flash. And then the actual deagle as well.
The confidence to just switch out to it, instant deagle follow-up. Lovely. Just lovely. Put that one on a fridge. Print it off. Go put it on your fridge.
What, are we in the wizarding world, are we?
We are.
This, you can put a video in the form of a printout.
The photos that move. GIFs.
GIFs.
Put a GIF of that on your fridge.
Put a GIF on the fridge.
Yeah.
Smart fridge. That's the new thing. Your fridge is actually just a screen.
See, it'd be huge. They probably do exist.
Oh, yeah. But what's the point?
Answers on a postcard. Is your fridge smart? Tweet us. Let us know. Well, 13-11, Ben. This one is actually spicing up. It looked like it was going to pretty much be an Astralis whitewash at the end of the first half. Instead, though, NiP have shown every sign of getting back into this. They are countering Astralis to a pretty good degree. And Rez trying to play this one like Godby, the anti-flash angle behind the door. If they don't clear it, somehow they're not actually suspecting to. They walk in. Xyp9x slays Dupree because Rez actually extends out ready for the spam rather than playing behind them, worried they were going to clear it. So we see a team kill come through, and then the trade onto Rez.
So does that count as an opening kill for Astralis and then a trade as well? Technically.
I get what it is the
Or is
first
it
kill.
but is it or was it just an opening death for nobody?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, other than, you know, Dupree. Like,
I don't know. I wonder how that works.
Yeah,
I wonder how that
works.
Well, nevertheless, they're going back towards B. They've definitely made some history on this bomb site, but it was mostly from their defences, the tenacious defences they had on their first half. Second half hasn't been as successful for them. And Forest lying back in the site, ready to try and ward them off with his AWP. And Plopsky playing up close and personal, ready to punish. Will find the first with a cheeky headshot there onto Glaive. Hammers his way through the smoke, but Magisk gets the follow-up kill. The AUG doing damage. This really makes it hard now. Lekro trying to get a shot off on the cross. Fires off the first warning. Get right starts to burn. The flashbang actually allows Device to cross as well. He gets in. He can now plant the bomb just in the nick of time. He had 5 seconds to work with. This is going to be an awkward retake.
He can't really get off the site either unless he peeks towards the door. 2v3, probably one of the few rounds Astralis had the advantage. Oh my word, he takes the fight anyway. Can he produce any more magic, Lekro?
Lekro, he's got it all to do. It's all
Device
on him.
it.
Device just went for the wide face, holding it, suspecting that he's going to try this shenanigan again. Instead, Device holds strong, expects the door push. He comes through. Lekro's down. The 14th has finally been picked up for Astralis. It's taken some time for them to be able to get that round.
The big thing, though, is definitely Magisk, right? Because every time they've gone into that B site, he either gets 1,
Yep.
and then there was the other round where he got 2. That round, he gets 2. He was so ready for Plopsky to be running through that smoke as well. He was already transferring after he got the kill, before he emerged, even. 14 to 11, though, as you said. NiP, the bank is running dry now. They need to win this round.
Yeah, they need to.
That's not an ideal Molotov.
No, that's not gone well at all, actually. If they wanted to try and go for something a bit outrageous here, that could come back to bite them in the bottom.
Oh, no.
They've sent 2 players out. They've got the smoke up as well. Device comes over to assist. Rez with the first, but he's got to try and retreat it towards deep pit and try and hide out. Glaive is so low. Get Right might have actually just saved this here, Ben, with the spam through the smoke. Oh, Rez, he's allowed to reface. There's no real help from any of the Astralis players between themselves. They're also isolated. Device just wants to get out of there, but he's going to have to leave the bomb behind.
Surely
Plays
not.
around his smoke. The follow-up onto Get Right brings them back into the round.
That's crazy that he's been able to do that. And even jumping into the pit, ooh, a step too far, perhaps. Magisk, I was praising him just then. He's got 27 kills. He'd have 30 if he won this round.
There's a 30 bomb in the air. Oh, if he would have got the 1 tap off with that, it would have been one of those rounds you just have to give him the credit for. Slowly advancing, though. They've detected him. There is a flank coming through slowly from Forest, but it's going to take some time to arrive. They just want to delay on this push. He gets the smoke towards the cross. It's a little bit towards the right, though, so there's going to be a huge gap. And the spam against Plopsky doesn't work. He will go down. And Ninjas, they keep themselves alive. Slowly keeping off that match point from Astralis. Barely stopping them.
Yeah, Rez, I mean, even though the Molotov missed, thankfully he got that first kill.
Yeah.
And survived long enough as well. Get Right obviously doing a load of work for him there.
The amount of
Whether it's
damage Get
confusion
Right
or just
actually got
damage.
off as well was wild. I mean, Glaive is down to like 5 HP.
Yeah, crazy situation. Astralis actually do buy in as well. They recognise we still got quite high loss bonus. We might as well go for the buy here. We'll then buy again at 14-14 if things go sour. Oh, Magisk. Oh, not quite unblinded in time. They're having to use a lot of utility just to get out here, and they get both kills.
Well, it didn't work out well last time, but they knew what went wrong, and they fixed it. They've been able to bombard their way out of long so aggressively. Lekro barely missing on the cross as he wanted to try and impale Device.
Look at the flank from Plopsky, though. He's already cleared through tunnel. We can already see Magisk, he's already watching towards the back. Lekro, he overstepped his boundaries right there and still got 2 kills from it.
Lekro! The sheer lunacy of this man as the confidence must be flowing through him. And actually, this could be so vital now for Plopsky. The plot master himself arrives. The pre-fire is going to come out, though. The shadow not helping him there. The sun itself has damned Plopsky into the round. And it allows the rotation for Astralis. They can back off and head towards the B site. They smoke on the cross as well before the late rotation comes through from Dupree. And this is where you have to make a decision for NiP. Do you stick 2 players towards the site? Do you rotate 1 off? They're going to clear towards mid, but they might not actually get any read at all from this. It's too late. They've already bypassed T-spawn. They're in the site, Ben.
Get Right actually will be here, though, in time. He might just go straight through this door. Oh, the spam. It's got to be tempting to go through here. The plant will go through. It's a 2v2. Kit on both players. No nades across the board.
It all depends on the timing.
Lecro arrives. He's only got an AWP to work with. dupree's going to fight him. dupree will probably land this headshot, which he will. And GeT_RiGhT has it all to do and not much time to work with. Going for the jump across. He does have a kit, but he's got no utility. Debating whether or not he needs to just run in and try and make this one work. Praying for some success into the round. Gets a read at least where one of the players are. It's an awkward peak to walk into. Xyp9x had the preferred angle, and he will get that kill.
Very unfortunate situation. I mean, Astralis, they get the 2 openers. Lecro returns the favour beautifully.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, after Lecro gets those 2 kills, you can't but feel like Plopsky doesn't need to make the move he has done, right? He can just hold the exit. You don't have to make that aggressive play. You don't have to be the hero. You could just be the one that wins the round for them instead of, you know, flanking in 3K looking great. Just one of those small plays which inexperience does defeat you in. And NiP learned from their previous mistake. They don't bother fighting long here.
You can see that was sort of the light bulb that switched on for Astralis as well after that first long take, where they realized how actually they could beat it and it would work out, because it was literally just the sheer damage, which was miraculous, that came out from NiP that saved them the first time it happened. NiP's buy is fairly lackluster as well. I mean, utility speaks for itself. You've got 3 smokes and 1 Molotov. That's not going to save you in the late game. Forest only on a deagle when he's actually had some pretty influential, sort of, you know, actually star kills coming through. Some of the impact frags he's found has saved their bacon, so it is going to be a bit awkward for them, Ben.
Yeah, more so when this actual long take comes through, or rather when it does. I imagine they'll flash to clear the corner just in case there is an open play. Lecro has been very influential with that, this map. Flash comes through, and as you can see, no actual shot taken.
Astralis, they set themselves up, they get the smoke on the cross. If they win this round, they'll be 1 map away from the semi-finals here at Cologne. But Rez, he wants to deny it, sprints his way out through the smoke, catches Glaive off by surprise there. Lecro as well, it's a prime angle to absolutely decimate, hits him with the lacerations as he finds the first, but there's an easy trade from dupreeh. Xyp9x comes down like a ton of bricks on GeT_RiGhT as well, and it is all up to Forest and Plopsky. Unfortunately, Forest, the weakest of the firepower to play with going into this, just the 50 cal on his hands. Plopsky clutching onto that M4. They haven't crossed towards the site yet. The bomb has not gone down. 16 seconds. Technically, there's a chance if they can try and deny this one. Just stop the man on the site. Forest gets the headshot off with a deagle. Some vintage Forest could be coming out here, Ben, to save him. He finds himself the M4 as well. dupreeh gets the bomb down. Assisted by Magist. They're trapped towards the site, though. Forest has nothing to help him here. No utility, no teammates. All he has is an M4 and a dream. Hammering down on the trigger there as he tries to hit the shot across. Can't actually bait them out. They have no reason to extend the cross. They want to take this map and get themselves in such a close position to get to the semi-finals. Instead, though, Forest, they both expose themselves at the exact same time. He rips his way through them. Just with a deagle and a dream, he somehow steps up, finds an M4, slaughters them all, and gets the 13th for NiP. They want to try and play for OT.
I can't believe they actually peeked into the same line. It's the exact same as that Glaive 2K we saw earlier on. The perfect lineup. You can see the communication between them. We're going wide 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3, and straight into Forest's aim like that. Even though he has no kit as well. There was 20 seconds left, I think, when he got the double kill.
That is actually so damn wild. And it's also the fact as well, you think for the position we were in, when we were shocked that Astralis even had to use a pause in that first half, we get to here now where you're on your last pause. It's 15-13. There's 2 rounds between overtime or you actually being able to close this down in regulation here for Astralis. This is NiP's map pick. They need this, Ben, to have themselves set up to at least try and go toe-to-toe in this best of 3. They want to be in that semi-final.
Yeah, I mean, Astralis having to take a pause there as well. Instead of potentially trying to actually just go for the killing, well, rather just delay the killing blow a bit, they want to end it now. They recognise NiP will not have a good buy, which they don't. It's much better than last round, at the very least, firepower-wise. Utility's pretty much the same, though. And the thing is, Astralis, they don't have much of a better buy in terms of utility. Like, across the board, it's much better compared to NiP. But it's not as good as it could be, right? They've got 2,900 loss bonus right here. Also, Forrest got tagged again when he was crossing by this time an SG. He hasn't been tagged by an AWP, but he's been tagged by an AKSG, Deagle, and I think a Scout.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Literally the collection of, like, the gun game, basically. It is wild. Well, round 29 here. If NiP win this, they'll have to play out for either overtime or a loss, and this round is really going to have a lot of stock dumped into it. Lecro. He's had a fair bit of success towards mid when it comes to finding the opening pick, and he does it once again.
It's a big kill to find as well, Magisk. The top performer on the server right now. 28 kills. You take him down, and Rez needs to do some work of his own here.
Oh. The Astralis killer bees, they're on the swarm. As they've rattled the hive, getting that first kill on Magisk. Rez, though, the one-man army at long, decimating them as they come in one by one. Dupree firing off wildly through the smoke, hoping to try and get a connection onto one of the players. Device eventually is able to slay Rez. But surely it's too little too late. It's a 2 versus 4, you're outnumbered. Plopsky rotating in. Just so much damage to Dupree, but couldn't finish him off. How does he not lose his head there as well? Sprints up towards the slide, carries on moving, nearly actually got the running one-tap off. Meanwhile, with all this commotion caused towards the A site, Device is using the back door into B. As a welcome mat down, and he's going to run in and try and rub his grubby feet all over it. But Forest has other ideas in mind. Sitting towards the car, denies the entry as he hits the ignition. And NiP are 1 round away from an overtime.
1 round away. Astralis losing another opening kill to Lekro's AWP though. In the same position we saw from the first time he had the AWP as well, right? It was the CT side. He peeked through the door, got a player on the cross right there. Astralis used their final timeout.
It's coming out, yeah.
I don't think NiP have even used all of their timeouts.
I think they've only used 2.
As a reference point. But
Yeah.
that's kind of crazy, right? So the score was at 1 point 13-3
Yeah.
in favour of Astralis. They'd won the T-side pistol. We're now 15-14 to Astralis.
And look at what they're going to have to work with as well. The limited cash going into this.
It's really not great. We see an AK buy. I imagine that'll go to Magisk. See the pistols being passed around, although...
So, we've got a scout on Device, Dupree with a Kalashnikov.
Okay, so Magisk bought the AK and passed it across to Dupree. It was the other way around. He gets given a deagle by Dupree.
Zipnix is on a Mac-10 with a Glock.
Yeah, and the CZ
Glaive only
was
has the
bought was
CZ,
given
yeah.
to Device as well. Okay. I'm surprised that wasn't a tag.
Ooh.
There hasn't been much damage exchange between the actual snipers at mid whenever we've seen that battle.
They've never really actually taken sort of the straight-up AWP fight down mid.
Like we've seen flurries of like a scout versus an AWP or, like, or scout versus scout, but they've never hit each other. Quite an
That's the
interesting
one thing
one.
we haven't actually, seen coming out from the AWPs. They've been playing sort of more just the defensive choke points rather than actually trying to go for the early frag. If they want to go back towards B, Ben, they might be walking straight into Plopsky. Agent 47 himself, the silent assassin, lines it up, gets such a big spam off onto Magisk, but he gets actually a frag onto Dupree. They cast all of the utility out, and they're going for it as well. The Mac-10 madness as they run in. Forest in the backline, assisted by Plopsky. They're ripping their way through each and every one of them. Device hits the meat grinder, and it's all up to Magisk on the B bomb site. But the only thing that's going off is ninjas in pajamas as they bombard their way through. 15-15. It never looked like we were going to make it to this point, but we're going to overtime here in the first map of this best of 3.
I just can't believe that. So when you think about the first, like, say, 8 rounds of the T side for Astralis, they kept on taking long. They took it quite comfortably a few times. Plopsky pushed tunnels around 4 times, I think. 4, maybe 5 times.
Yeah, we saw a lot of aggression.
Astralis had never caught on to it in the sense that they never took long and then held for that push specifically.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the rounds where he's made that push, and this is the only time he's ever had contact there. And he's actually got a kill, damage, got another kill, done a crazy bit of impact, and delayed them so much.
Well, Astralis, they had a horrible buy going into that prior round. Now we're in OT, they've got a lot of money to play with. They'll be sipping on the rosés as these diamond-encrusted weapons get bought out. All the AKs already starting to slay. The early frag found there for Glaive as he bursts his way out towards long. They try and rebuild their defense towards the A site, though. Rez put up on a pedestal in the elevated angle. It's a fairly heavy stack, though. The 3 players towards there. Get right trying to defend towards mid as well. Only 1 man on B with Plopsky holding strong. But Astralis, they're not overcommitting to this. They're just holding their angles. They're waiting for the game of push and pull, Ben. They want someone to lurk their way up mid from NiP.
Yeah, you could see the way that Magisk was positioned. He was way outside tunnels, like T-spawn, basically, waiting for that push if there was to be. However, Plopsky much more defensive, especially when he's a man down. In previous instances, NiP, they still had 5 players alive. They just held for that actual push. A will be the site that they go for, though. Rez, putting that smoke in, that'll actually cause a lot of confusion. It's quite difficult to get on the site properly with that smoke there.
That tag's fairly naughty as well. Dupree brought down to just 12 HP.
Ooh.
Wild spam from Get Right. It'll put fear into them, and also a couple of bullets into the chest of Zipnix as he gets tagged up quite a lot. Still just wildly spamming away. The bomb hasn't gone down yet. NiP looking a little bit paranoid actually about a potential play with a backstab through mid. Instead, everyone on Astralis is grouped up towards the A site all
From
along.
Lekro. Oh, we didn't actually use it. Instead, GetRight gets pulled away as well. I was wondering if Lekro would try and use his Molotovs to delay the plant, just so they can keep delaying over and over again. Plopsky arrives with his own as well. Here they come, though. On the same place.
It's going to ignite the site. Clay might actually burn to a crisp here, but he gets one on the fadeaway. The takedown on Plopsky. Oh, he will get his martyrdom off with a Molotov, and Lekro will shatter the cranium of Dupree. Smoke goes down towards Long as well to try and allow Rez to do something naughty as he sprints his way in. A cheeky tag off onto Device, but surely it's not enough unless he can somehow clutch this one out. Finds the first, they're both on his side. The follow-up as well to Magisk, spamming into the smoke, he has no time, he whips out the knife, barely misses it in the awkward fight between Device. He will lose the round, and Device will stay alive, taken down by the bomb blast in the end there.
That was a crazy 180 from Rez. Like, it was dead on, perfect. Flick direct to your head. A very close one when you consider it was, what, 3v5? And that retake was looking dire. I mean, Glaive, he gets mollied out, but he gets a kill anyway.
If Glaive didn't find that the takedown on the retreat back through 2 Molotovs, it still could have been a different round.
Oh, there we go. That's on the tag from Device this time. On to Plopsky, not first.
Finally, an actual warp shot connecting as well.
They're actually committing for this fight. And Forrest with an AWP doing it.
Oh, that's one of those that's going to be so frustrating as well. You know, in his head right now, he's like, how have I not found that early entry? And this is where it all starts to go wrong. You've given Glaive an inch, and he's going to take an absolute mile.
And Plopsky pushes tunnel. They had a player ready for it, just in case if they go down 2 players, he tends to push tunnel. And he did it just then. Although GetRight does get a kill back. It's still 2v4 though.
It's kind of a lot like, you know, Google's machine learning AI? That's Astralis. You know, it takes a couple of rounds to get the benchmark of what NiP are doing, and then all of a sudden they've realized. Sonic gives them a little tap on the back, and they're like, ah, tunnel push.
Yeah, double tap means long push. That is the additional code work you could do as a team right there.
Yeah.
Have your coach have some good signaling in terms of pats.
A lot like a aircraft takeoff.
Yeah.
You know, with the little signals and the little flags. It's been awkward, though, for NiP into this round, as Lekro's the only one that remains. Dupree will find him. Attacks him with the AK, and Astralis do take that round. 17-15 now in the early overtime. Of course, the 3rd round of overtime to go. NiP, if they can at least get one of the boards, they'll have a little bit more to work with. Obviously, their CT side was way better than what we saw on their T half initially. A lot of that was due to the weak buys as well, though, because they never really had stable economy in the regulation half, so who knows? Although for Astralis, they've got tons of money, and they're going to show that off. The auto snipers come through. The one round they have auto snipers, they don't get a tag down mid.
Not a single hit. GetRight gets all the way across and doesn't have to pay any price.
No, he's fine.
That is the dream. 17-15, as you mentioned, and actually, you know, we hit the point where the CTs do struggle to get all the utility in properly as well, and head armor, maybe kits for players who have been buying AWPs, such as Lekro. Nevertheless, though, key point was definitely the fact that the money coming into overtime, you have 16k, which means we saw so many Astralis buys where it was like some CZ, Scout, Deagle, nothing more. And they were just willing to go half and half, just make sure we have some chance of winning, rather than just having a Glock round, which you're not really going to win. Like, it's quite such a low chance. But the big one turning up in overtime, there's got to be Glaive, right? He's already got 4 kills in this 2 rounds we've seen. And both of those were entries as well. Or 2 of the 4, rather, were entries. Very impactful. Much slower around here, though. So Forrest and GetRight being dedicated towards B. Forrest still has his Molotov, which he will be using towards mid there. Which means it's actually quite easy to get out tunnel. Glaive, he just keeps going. He hasn't seen him.
Oh, Glaive eventually runs into the barrel of Forrest there. Rez will be able to pick one up back onto Device as well. And it's a 3 versus 5 in the round. GetRight. The double dink coming through off the back of that M4 as he'll be howling his way through. Everyone is tagged up, though. And Zipnix looks to try and save it. It's not meant to be. 17-16 off the back of the first half of the overtime here, Ben.
Yeah, very nice round. I mean, the big thing there, Plopsky, he was the main Bianca. He throws his flash towards mid B. Glaive, awfully confused when he was coming up that B ramp sort of area. He reached the track and he was kind of like, do I look CT, do I look towards B? Forrest was there the whole time. Doesn't quite get the kill. And that means the B push itself, Plopsky had already dedicated himself. You have to make that decision when you're the Bianca, when a B split is coming through. You either decide, am I going to fight tunnel and hold that side, or am I going to go towards mid B? He went mid B, they took that, and then he retook the site. Very nicely played, but that is only one round on the CT side.
Which is, statistically based off what we saw initially, not great for NiP, really.
Not great whatsoever, especially when you consider that Astralis, like NiP, were also running a double AWP setup on the CT side of things.
They have that to them, well, basically for free now, at least going into that first round, because of the sheer amount of money they're going to have to play with. Same cannot really be said for NiP, obviously, in terms of regulation. They had no money. That was probably the big caveat as to why they were struggling so much. We had at least 5 or 6 their buy rounds where someone was on a Deagle or a Scout. It was never really the full 5 AKs. This time, though, Forest is on the AWP. You've got 5 AKs across the board. Double AWP set up for Astralis. An AUG and 2 M4s thrown into the mix as well as we delve into round 4 of the first overtime.
Yeah, nothing too crazy to start the actual round off from NiP, though. Astralis take long control with the device, actually to peek in the corner. Just a case of push and pull, trying to find out what actually is being done across the map before both teams really. CT side of things, we saw a lot of AWP kills come through the doors.
Yeah.
Like actually in the form of entry kills. That was for both NiP and Astralis as well. Decent damage by Glaive though, the HE. GetRight was winning most of these battles towards long as well, against Glaive. Which could be paramount to the actual round being, or going towards NiP here.
Depends if Glaive is going to want to play it in the same way. We saw a lot of deep smokes coming through where he'd actually walk through it on his own. There's the smoke from his teammate. He is actually going to extend his way in. GetRight, though, is walking off at this point. He isn't holding it. He's going back to link up with the rest of his team towards short. Depends on how this round develops from this point forward. 40 seconds left. Rez forced back by the Molotov. In terms of utility, though, still a fair bit left for Astralis. They can still try and burn some time down. They have 1 smoke left on Dupree and 4 flashbangs to try and delay the push. However, NiP, they're backing off. They're going into the B site. And this was Magisk's playground.
Dupree needs to use his smoke. It's 20 seconds left. If he smokes tunnels, this could be round over immediately. They're just facing Magisk instead.
Flashbangs come out, Molotov as well. Magisk might have to reposition. He's getting tagged by the molly. Forest will find the headshot with the AWP.
Oh, it's such a good reposition.
Dupree! He's got the upper hand on this one, though, as he hammers his way through them, one by one. The scoped superstar punishing everyone in front of him. GetRight, realizing there's a second left on the clock, has to just bury himself next to a wall, post up like a gangster, and let this one slip by. 18th round now accumulated for Astralis. They need 1 more here to close it down. Dupree was just dominant here.
The reposition was so good, though. That was so close to being a collateral as well. If Lecro didn't jump, that's an easy collat.
Yeah.
But, you know, it was kind of a payoff, right? I said Dupree, he needed to use that actual smoke he had. Instead, he allowed Magisk to essentially burn to death and went, I'll save the round, don't worry. And that he did, to be fair. He gets 3 kills right there. The Strats have another 2 chances to take this first map. And they start off strong again. Glaive. That's a 3rd entry kill in overtime alone.
Glaive, he's been doing work. Definitely getting them back in the position they need to be in now for Astralis. 4 players alive already for NiP. Oh, look, a bit of a miscommunication there on the boost. Glaive wanted up. He wanted a boo-boo.
Yeah, he does get it in the end from Dupree. So I think that was a case of making sure that Dupree, or at least Glaive was initially saying, I'll boost you, and Dupree's just going, no, we'll keep just 1 AWPer up there. There's no point having 2 up there. It's a lot of awkward angles, really. Molotov comes through. Device. Oh, he actually tried to jump there.
Yeah. I mean, he headbutted it a bit. 1
Kevlar damage taken right there.
Oh, wow. All right.
Oh, this nade.
That could actually be pretty darn lethal. Bit of attack across. Nice. Gap in the smoke as well there. Zipnix, the instant detection. As the visual pat-down works out well for him. Oh, Plopsky as well, running into the unknown. Uppercut comes through with a 5-7. At this point, it's just left on the OGs, Ben. Forest and GetRight. Oh no, not just like this. Forest.
That should be it.
Completely overthrown, Ben. You leave it on the Swedish superstar himself. In a 1 versus 5 to try and deny Astralis getting themselves a 19th round, but they're going to pick it up. They take NiP's map pick as their own. They're going to win that one and shut it down in a 19-16